Hello everyone, welcome back. Welcome freaking back. As you guys can see by the title and the thumbnail of this video, we are at the end of the month yet again. I guess I kind of understand why February felt really quick. It's because it's the shortest month of the year. But I'm gonna stop yapping. Let's get into this February wrap up. So, we're going to be starting out with the first book that I read in February. I have videos of me reading every single one of these books this month, so I'm not going to dive too deeply into them because it's just going to be repetitive from those videos. So if you want a deeper dive into these books, I would highly recommend jumping over and watching the reading romance books only romance books for a week. And then what was the other video Pinterest chooses my next read. So I would highly recommend watching those two videos if you would like a deeper dive into these books. But with that little caveat, I am going to be starting out with the first book that I read this month. I almost said this month. I'm going to be starting out with the first book that I read this month, which was Picking Daisies on Sundays by Liana Cincotti or Cincotti, I'm pretty sure. I cannot pronounce their last name. It is either Cincotti, or Cincotti. I don't know, but I adored this book. I rated this book a 5-star. This book was genuinely so sweet. There was no spice in this book at all. There was the most beautiful, well-rounded adult romance that you could have possibly read in that book. That was just genuinely such a fantastic book. It's one that I will highly recommend. I will be thinking about for a very long time. I really did love that book so much. It really did stick with me. That book was, like I have said multiple times already, so sweet. That book follows our two main characters. They are best friends. They are childhood best friends. They kind of spent all of their high school years together, and they never kind of dove further into their relationship because neither of them were willing to kind of ruin that friendship, which we've all been in those situations, or we've all felt like we've been in those situations before. And that's kind of what the story was about. The story was kind of just about, it was a fake dating romance, which I love fake dating, so that kind of already had me hooked. But this one was a best friends to kind of strangers to best friends again, and then best friends to fake dating. And it was genuinely just such a cute book, and I would highly recommend it at any age because, like I said, there was no spice in that book, so I would highly recommend that book. Then the next book that we read this month was Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. This book I rated a 4.75. This book, once again, wasn't necessarily spicy, but it was more sensual. That's the word. It wasn't necessarily like in your face, they're doing it and the doors are open and we know everything. It was more or less just sensual. This book follows two characters. Our two main characters are both female. It is Laura and Carmilla. And this book is a sapphic romance. If you don't know what sapphic is, it is basically just to generalize it, just to kind of give you a broad term for it, is basically women on women, so lesbian. So this book was really good. It was 4.75, like I said. I kind of wish that the book, and this is me being picky, but I kind of wish that the book had just been a tad bit longer. There had been just a little bit more. It felt like it kind of ended randomly, if that makes sense. Like, it felt like I had been like waiting for the climax of the story, and don't get me wrong, the climax happened, but it felt like it could have been a little bit longer, so I got a little bit picky there. I did rate it a 4.75, but I, in my opinion, felt like this was more friendship than it was sexual, if that makes sense. It was more just two really good female friends who may have been a little bit more sensual with each other than was expected in that period, so it kind of ended up being a little bit more spicy just because of the writing style. And this one actually was the romance that inspired Dracula. So I really did enjoy this book. I would recommend this book, but I would recommend it for my older audience, and I would also maybe save it for like October, November, that time. But the next book that we read was Second Act Romance by Julie Soto. That book was so cute. And let me say really quickly, I didn't know that Julie Soto was in the theater world, and I don't know how I didn't know that. But anyway, going into that, I felt like me being an actor, me being in the theater, me doing the thing, you know what I mean? I felt like the setting and the way that the book was flowing was really authentic to what theater looks like, to what live theater is. Live theater is chaotic. Live theater is stressful. Live theater is one of those things where you kind of just have to be expecting the unexpected at all times possible. There were a few quotes in that book that I really genuinely adored. There was one quote in particular that I'm thinking of, that it was like, outsiders will never understand the meaning of the show must go on. Like, those 5 words have such a large meaning in the theater, to the point that I literally have it tattooed on my body. I genuinely loved this story. It follows our main characters. They are in the theater. They are doing a show for Valentine's Day, but everyone ends up sick. And with everyone being sick, all of the swings have to go on. If you don't know what a swing is an actor who is hired to go on last minute for pretty much any character. So they are taught all of the dances, they're memorized in all of the lines, they know everyone's blocking. Basically, they are kind of the person who, if anyone is missing, they just call for the swing. The difference between a swing and an understudy is an understudy is hired specifically for one character. A swing is hired for just a lot of them. Okay, so that's that. But that book was really sweet. It felt really authentic, and it was just 10 out of 10, so cute. The next book that I read in the month of February was Accidentally Yours by Christina Lauren. I also rated this book a 5-star. This book was so cute. So cute. This book felt like a Hallmark movie. And I say that a lot. I say that about a few books, and what I mean by it feels like a Hallmark movie, in my opinion, it feels like the romances that are just serendipitous. Like, the serendipity in these relationships are just genuinely so funny and so cute, and just, you could not have painted a picture more beautifully. And that's kind of, in my opinion, whenever I say something feels like a Hallmark movie, it is because of the serendipity of their relationship. I think that makes sense. Anyway, this book follows our main female character who is in a male-dominated field, and our main male character who runs a business in said male-dominated field, and our female decides that she's going to try one more time with this company, or with male-run companies. She's going to try one more time, and their relationship blooms online. They are purely online workers. They work from home, so they do not know what each other look like. And that's kind of where the Hallmark movie situation feels like it starts, because our two main characters are already friends. They are building this relationship, but they don't know who each other are. and that's why I feel like it's kind of Hallmarky, but I rated that book a 5-star. That book was so cute. And then I read Valentine's Sleigh by Navessa Allen. I also rated that book a 5-star, but I also had a 4 spicy scale on that book. That book was the spiciest out of all of the, what were they called? Improbable Meet Cute romances that Amazon did. So basically they're all on Kindle Unlimited. All of those, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4? But Valentine's Sleigh was the naughtiest out of all of them, and all of the ones that I read. I did not get to all 6, I only read 3. But I really genuinely loved that book. That book was more, I guess you could say, more gripping, more exciting than the other 2 that I read, because I feel like that one, I kind of attached myself to my Kindle after chapter 1, but the other Meet Cute romances that I read, they were more like, I read through them so quickly because they were so short, not necessarily I read through them quickly because I was devouring the words that I was reading. Valentine's Sleigh, on the other hand, I devoured that book. It was so good. From chapter 1, I was attached to that book. I, like I said, rated that book a 5-star. That book follows our main male who works at a graveyard and our main female who is our main male's high school crush, basically. And their relationship starts out really odd, and that's kind of as far as I'm going to get into it, because it will absolutely spoil the book if I try to explain any further. And then the last book that I've read in the month of February was A Court of Frost and Starlight. That is the novella and the ACOTAR series. I have been rereading that series with my sister-in-laws for the past few months, and I finally finished the novella. It feels good to finally be done with it, to be honest. I feel like we've been kind of slowly working our way through it, but I am happy to say that I have finally finished the novella, and it is time to get to A Court of Silver Flames, and I'm super excited to get into that, but that's not what this video is for. But I did end up reading a total of 5 books in the month of February. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I read a total of 6 books in the month of February, which is so fun to me, honestly, because how did I read more books in the month of February than I did in the month of January? February is the shortest month of the year. Anyway, yeah, those are the books that I read in the month of February. I feel like I had a really good reading month. All of them were 5 stars except for one, and even that one that was not a 5-star was still only a 4.75. I had such a good reading month. I hope you guys had a good reading month. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite book that you read this month was, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, make sure you leave a comment downstairs, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.